I would also want to remind the other speakers that as this one question is being asked, you're expected to come and set up so we can respect the time. All right, so Zhihan will be presenting her work entitled Data-Driven Context-Aware Health Inference System for Children During School Closures.
So hi everyone, today I'm very happy to be here representing my co-authors to present our work. And we know that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused great influence on us, and since March 2020, more than 90% of school has experienced temporary closure due to COVID-19. And in Hong Kong, different learning modes were adopted at the different stage of the pandemic, including the full-day face-to-face class before the COVID-19 and full-day online class after the outbreak of COVID-19, and half-day face-to-face class and half-day online class when the COVID-19 was under control. And as critical settings for physical activity and essential sources for mental health service for children, the closure of schools would inevitably have an impact on children's health. While parents often fail to recognize the change in their children's health, particularly their mental health, until visible symptoms appear. So, against this background, we want to explore the impacts of school closures on children's health and study the correlation between children's contextual characteristics and health. And finally, we build a context-aware health inference system for children based on their contextual features and derive the risk factors. And here is a three-phase framework consisting of data collection, exploratory data analysis, and a context-aware health inference system. In the first phase, we collect various data from participants and derive the contextual characteristics and health indicators. Then we conduct exploratory data analysis to explore the correlation between contextual features and health indicators and explore the impacts of school closures on the children's health. Finally, we build the context-aware health inference system and conduct the feature importance analysis and the risk factor analysis. The data were collected from more than 1,000 primary or secondary school students in Hong Kong. And there are 4 data collection periods corresponding to different learning modes. The data collected includes the demographic information like age, gender, etc., and the acceleration data. And the questionnaires were used to collect the contextual characteristics like the socioeconomic status, electronic device usage patterns, etc. And we also use the widely used scales in clinical trials to measure the children's physical and mental health. So based on this data, we derived 8 types of contextual characteristics, including the demographics, socioeconomic status, electronic device usage patterns, financial satisfaction, academic performance, sleep patterns, exercise habits, and dietary patterns. And we also derive the health indicators from the questionnaires and the acceleration data, including the physical functioning, self-rated health, psychosocial functioning, resilience, connectedness, and the physical activity intensity. Specifically, the physical activity intensity were measured by the sedentary behavior and the moderate to vigorous physical activity. Then in exploratory data analysis, we wanted to answer 2 questions. What are the impacts of school closures on the 6 indicators? And what is the correlation between these contextual features and the 6 indicators? We adopted different statistical analysis methods for different types of variables to find the statistical significance. And here is a brief summary of the impacts of school closure on health indicators. Briefly, we find that school closure would decrease the physical activity intensity and have different impacts on female and male children, and also different impacts on primary, secondary school students. And specifically, it's interesting to find that the self-rated health of secondary school students and the psychosocial functioning of female children improved after school closures. Also, different contextual features have different influence on different health indicators, and more details can be found in our paper. Based on this observation, we built a health inference system. We first train inference models with different algorithms and select the model with the best performance. Then we select the important features for further analysis. Leveraging this system, we analyze the risk factors for each indicator and visualize the inference results. The model evaluation results show that in general, the attributes achieve the better performance, so it is used for further analysis. Then in the feature importance analysis, we use the game theoretic approach, SHAP, to obtain the importance values for each feature and iteratively select the most important features for achieving the good performance and remove those redundant features. Then we conduct risk factor analysis for each health indicators. And in general, we find that the sleep quality, diet habits, electronic usage patterns of both children and the parents, and exercise habits are influential factors. Then we conduct case studies. This is the first case in our paper. It's a 15-year-old boy with at-risk, moderate to vigorous physical activity and connectedness. The most influential risk factor to its MVPA is the online learning mode. Also, he spent too much time on electronic games. The child also claimed that his communication with his parents were often interpreted by parents using electronic devices. But interestingly, the long time spent on electronic games decreased the probability of at-risk connectedness. Besides, the bad exercise habits and sleep patterns also have an adverse influence on his connectedness. Therefore, we suggested that both the child and the parents should balance the usage of electronic devices. And the exercise and the sleep habits of the child should also be improved. So to summarize, we build a data-driven context-aware system to comprehensively infer children's health and risk factors during school closures. And we evaluate the system using real-world data sets. Based on our exploration, we have many interesting findings. For example, we found that the half-day school closure would have a lower influence on children than full-day closures. And sometimes school closures can even bring benefits. The electronic devices are double-edged sword. Good sleep, frequent exercise, and healthy diets are panaceas. Parents' habits would also influence their children, so they should play an exemplary role. However, there are still limitations in our work, such as lacking of diversity in demographic, context, and health indicators. Also limited by the realistic condition, we are not able to completely eliminate the influence of other confounders, such as the closure of other infrastructures like gyms. But since schools are critical settings for children, and from our questionnaire, we found that the school are their most frequent places. So we think the school closures would be the most significant factors leading to the difference, especially for Hong Kong, which is a high-density metropolitan area with limited public space for physical activity. And it's also important to notice the privacy concerns, since the analysis requires detailed contextual features. And finally, currently in our study, it's impractical to generalize causal effects due to the unmeasured confounding features and correlated input features. So that's the end of my presentation, and please feel free to ask any question.
So as we change the computers, we can take one question from the audience. All right, so we'll discuss this later in the panel. Thank you.